What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Chicken Bucket Boys. As always, I'm your host, Brian DeGennaro, joined today by the one-of-a-kind Paraskevas Xenophontos. What's going on, Para?
I'm good, man. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So we got some news this week. The Yankees released their 60-man roster. We're going to talk about it a little bit and who we think is going to end up on the 30-man roster. Is the final.
Yep.
Okay, so the 30-man is replacing the 25-man for this year. All right, so you want to tell us anything about it, Para?
Well, with the 30-man roster, kind of gives a better opportunity for a bunch of minor league prospects that wouldn't have to wait till September to get called up. So there's a lot of room for them to make it up. But with this whole coronavirus thing going on, if a player, God forbid, gets it, then they can get it called up, like an infielder, outfielder, especially. But there's a lot of key names. Obviously, we know guys like Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge, and Carlos Stanton, Garrett Cole. Those are the main guys that are automatically on the 30-man roster. But if you really break it down with all the prospects the Yankees have, it kind of makes you question who's going to get that opportunity to make it. Because I really don't know if they're going to be doing spring training games come their summer camps or anything, especially with all this traveling bans and the whole thing. But guys like Rosell Herrera, who had an outstanding spring training before everything went into hiatus, he has a good shot at making it as a backup infielder because as Gio Urshela is one of the best defensive infielders the Yankees have, I honestly don't see Andujar playing in the hot corner of third base. I don't know if you can
Well,
agree with me, Brian.
yeah, I mean, that's one of the luxuries of having the extra five guys is that you can kind of carry more specialists. So if Andujar is really going to be more of an offensive specialist where he'll play DH, he'll bat DH, and if anything, maybe if he's not playing one, then maybe he'll pinch hit or something like that. But we're not going to see him in the field really much. I wasn't expecting to see him in the field much to begin with, but now that they can carry some extra guys, I think that alleviates the pressure for him even more. So you might see guys like Rosell Herrera or someone else who wouldn't normally be on the roster would play some games and take that spot. So there's a few guys that I think are going to get lucky and be on the final 30-man roster where they probably wouldn't have been on the 25-man. So Rosell Herrera is one of them. We have a few others. Matt Duffy is an interesting one because they just signed him recently, right? The last couple of days.
Yeah, one of his best seasons he's had in the pros comes back, I believe, in 2014.
Yeah, when he was
It was
with the Giants,
actually
correct?
2015. In about 149 games, he had 169 hits, 12 home runs, and 77 RBIs, batting 295. So and he's 29, so he's a young infielder and probably be backups. But if anything happens, he'll probably get the call up. But yeah, a lot of these teams have the benefit of the doubt having all these luxury things of having an extra five man. But with the Yankees, I can actually see them having more pitchers than they do hitters because I don't know if you remember in the playoffs they had more pitchers than they did
Yeah, they like to
hitters.
have more
So
pitchers on the team.
so the Yankees have one of the best bullpens in baseball. So having more better future starters be in the bullpen, you have guys like Davie Garcia, Clark Schmidt. Those are the primary two guys that the Yankees hopefully have in their starting rotation. So, but Clark Schmidt has tore it up last year in AAA. So I would love to see
Mm-hmm.
him come out of the bullpen. And also with Severino out, he's automatically on the IL for the rest of the season. It'd be interesting to see who are the last two people in the Yankees rotation because you still have
Yeah,
Domingo Germán. So if they make the playoffs, the
he'd be
Yankees
back for the
up.
playoffs, right?
Yeah, so they'll face the 60 games he won't be pitching.
That's
I don't know
interesting.
if they'll put him exactly in the rotation. Maybe he'll be a bullpen guy just to get his arm
Yeah,
loosened up.
I would think so.
But just judging off this list, obviously with the catchers, you have Higashioka and Sanchez. Those are your primary guys. Infielders set with LeMahieu, Torres, Urshela, Voit, and Duhar. And possibly you could see Herrera and Tyler Wade being the backup guys. And the outfit's pretty much set. But to me, it's just who are those backup pitchers that they're going to use going forward for the 30-man roster.
Yeah, it'd be
So
interesting to see. Yeah, I could definitely see them taking an extra 2 or 3 pitchers. Um, the two that you mentioned, Michael King's another one that could be on. He's shown some promise. Yeah, so that'd be interesting. We might get to see Davie Garcia in the majors this year. That's a pretty good possibility of it, actually.
I think he's as much as I would love to see him coming out of the bullpen. I honestly don't see them bringing him on the 30-man
No,
spot. No, I honestly
maybe
think they
not
want
at
him
the
to get.
beginning, but I feel like you get a couple of injuries, and who else is there?
Brian, come on, man. You know the Yankees had over 40 plus injuries last year. You really want them to get injured?
Right, so they got all their injuries out last year, so there's going to be none this year. Uh, I'm just saying, in the off chance that there's an injury or two, there really isn't that much depth ahead of Davie Garcia, so I could
Yeah,
definitely
you're
see
not
it
wrong.
happening.
So as going forward, the three men that you can definitely see being in the rotation is Cole, Tanaka, and Paxton. If you
Mhm.
were to project two people off the pitchers list to fill in the fourth and the fifth spot, who do you see taking those spots?
I mean, I don't see it being anybody other than J Hap and Jordan Montgomery, at least to start with. Those are the guys that have been there. I mean, J Hap is not going to be a bullpen guy, and they're not going to send him down to the minor leagues. So if they have him on the team, he's going to be a starting pitcher. Um, Montgomery's similar situation. I mean, I think they see a lot in Montgomery, and he's been really good when he's healthy. So hopefully he comes back strong from Tommy John and can hang in there with everybody else. But that I think that would be the five. And then, like I said, if anybody goes down, I think you got Davey Garcia, um, and maybe who's the other one that you mentioned before? Clark Schmidt.
Clark Schmidt. There's a good
Yeah,
chance Loizaga might be a fifth guy,
yeah. I like
especially with the
Loizaga, but
shoulder.
I don't like him as a starter, man. I
He's a
know
better
they
bullpen. He's a better bullpen arm,
yeah,
especially.
he's got a lot of talent, but I feel like he gets injured too easily, and he always struggles a bit starting. I feel like he's better out of the bullpen, so hopefully he transitions to that nicely. He could be a real weapon, and they're going to need somebody to replace Dylan Betances, so could be interesting.
Absolutely, especially with Montgomery. He did come back towards the end of the season last year. He had a 6.75 ERA, and he only pitched in 2 games. So, but I think with the off season at hand and working with Matt Blake, he can be a nice lefty. To me, no matter if he struggles or not, he still reminds me of a young Andy Pettit.
Because he's a lefty.
No, not because of the lefty, just with the mechanics and everything he has. I just see Andy Pettit and Jordan Montgomery. That's just my honest opinion.
Andy Pettit's way better.
Oh, obviously, his numbers were retired.
But well, hopefully you're right, man. Maybe he'll turn a corner and be pretty good. But no, I do like Jordan Montgomery, and I think he could be a solid fourth or fifth starter. So hopefully, like he's hopefully he comes back and is strong and can dominate.
And hopefully Adam Ottavino can come in and actually he
Oh
started
yeah,
off well. He started off well in the beginning of the season, but towards that second and a half of the
I think
season, he's laid an egg.
I think they overused him a bit. I mean, they
Oh,
tried to
you know,
manage him, but I just feel like he was used too much and couldn't. His arm just gave out at the end. He had no control.
and he's a guy who had Tommy John surgery a couple of years back with the Rockies, so you can't really force a guy to pitch 3 or 4 straight games, especially with the you had
Yeah.
one of the top rotations. I know you didn't have Betances last year, it didn't, but still, you gotta work around.
Oh
If you
man, if we had
Cresting,
Betances in the playoffs last year, could you imagine? Because that bullpen was so good outside of Ottavino, and I think that was again a product of overusing him. But man, if they had Betances, that would have been awesome.
Betances was similar to Stanton last year. They had one injury lead to another injury. It was like first it was a shoulder, then it was something else, and then the guy comes back and he's ready to play. He strikes out a batter, hops, and tears his Achilles. Like you can't make this
Unbelievable.
up.
Well,
It's like,
anyway,
but anyway, spring training starts this Wednesday or summer camp, whatever you want to call it.
summer camp.
So
I like
it's
that.
gonna be at Yankee. It's gonna be at Yankee Stadium, so I am excited for the season. I mean, to where they got to the point where they actually agreed to have a season, it was implemented. It wasn't. They didn't. The only thing they came to an agreement on was on the health protocol. So that was about it. That was the only thing they came to an agreement with. But
It's just been a mess, man.
it'll be
But
interesting to see how it plays with the other sports, especially.
yeah, but like you said, it's just good to have baseball back. I'm looking forward to watching it.
And they already came out with opening day for the Yankees. They're going to be playing against the Washington Nationals, Scherzer versus Cole. So that's a big, big first game for Garrett Cole as a New York Yankee, especially against the former champs. He went up against them in the World Series. So I'm excited.
It's going to be great, man. I'm really excited. So anyway, how about we get into a little game of smash, trash, or pass?
It's one of the Chicken Bucket Boys' favorite games to play on a daily basis.
We do love this game, all right?
I do love this game.
So you know how it works. I'm going to give you a hot take, and you're going to tell me if you smash it, meaning you love it, you trash it, meaning you hate it, or you pass it, meaning you don't really care either way. So let's just jump right in. We got one. These are all Yankee ones, of course. It's a Yankee podcast. At least one significant Yankee will choose to sit out 2020.
I'm going to trash this.
Yeah, really.
Because Mike Leake was one of the first baseball players to opt out of playing this season, Ryan Zimmerman. But the Yankees side, I honestly think every single player on that team is hungry, especially with the last couple of years of being this close and making it to the World Series. I think everybody's going to take the opportunity and just try and play for the 60 games and see how it goes. I don't see anybody, unless it's injury-wise, if somebody has a significant injury, I don't see any significant player on the New York Yankees sitting out for this 60-game season.
Yeah, you know, I have to say I was a little bit surprised to see players actually opting to sit out. I know we had talked about it a bit, and I hear it on the radio all the time. But I always figured that everyone would just play. But to see like Ryan Zimmerman in particular was interesting to me. So it made me think. But I think you're probably right about this. I can't think of one Yankee in particular that would probably opt out. You know, they're all relatively young, and I don't think any of them would be overly worried about it. The only one that I could think of would be Brett Gardner, but I feel like he's just such a
with Brett Gardner and Ryan Zimmerman, they're on the same basis. They're towards the end of their careers, and everybody's
indicating that's what I mean. Is that he's one of the older Yankees, but I feel like he's got a drive that he would never like give up an opportunity to win a championship, or you know. Not that there would be anything wrong with that if they wanted to sit out. That's fine, but just made me think about that. So, okay, glad we're on the same page on that one. All right, my next one. We talked about this a little bit, but Davie Garcia will pitch for the Yankees at least 5 times in 2020.
I'm still going to trash this one.
Yeah, really?
I don't see him. I can see him definitely coming up towards the end of the season, but I don't see him making 5 appearances, maybe 1 or 2 just to see how his arm feels. Because he's still 20 years old. He's still got a lot of things he has to work with. Don't forget, he did get called up to AAA last year and got sent back down to AA. So even after spring training, when this whole hiatus started, they did send him down to AA. So I think they still want to see him work. But going forward with Matt Blake, I can see him definitely developing into a nice bullpen arm. I don't see him as a starting pitcher for the team, but I don't see him making more than 5 appearances this season.
Interesting. Okay. I think I'm going to smash it because I think that I like to think that he'll be on the team for a while. But like you said, I think if they do use him, it's going to be as a bullpen arm. So I don't think he would get 5 starts even if he did come up. But as far as a bullpen arm, I could definitely see him being used a lot towards the end. But they might want to try him out in the bullpen because, like you said, I don't really think that he's going to end up being a starter. He's not really big enough, and I don't think he has quite enough stuff to make it as a starter. But I mean, I'd love him to, but I think he'll end up in the bullpen. So they might want to try that out. You know,
like with my honest opinion, I can see if Clark Schmidt, Davie Garcia, or a lot of the young minor league starters for the Yankees, I can see them making a lot of appearances when it comes to terms for the fourth and fifth starter. Because if Montgomery struggles, if Happ struggles definitely early on, you can bring those guys in maybe the fourth, fifth inning, let them get their work in, and see what they can give you. So
Yeah, or even on like an opener day.
yeah,
So something to look out for. All right, let's get on to another one. Clint Frazier will get significant playing time in 2020.
I'm going for another trash it.
Okay.
Because I think we talked about this on previous episodes. When you think of Clint Frazier, he has a lot to bring to the table. The kid's hungry. He's always wanted to be on the team. But when you have guys like Hicks, Stanton, Judge, Kaufman, I kind of feel like, and Gardner especially, as much as Gardner has struggled last year and his career is winding down, I don't see them not wanting to play him, especially if this could be his last season or next year. But the only way I see Clint Frazier not playing, is if there is an injury. But with the shortened season, listen, the possibilities are out there. But as much as I want to see him play, but with the stacked outfield, I don't see him playing more than 10 games.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, especially since Hicks seems to be healthy and Judge seems to be healthy, knock on wood with that. But and the fact that they're probably going to use Miguel Andujar as the DH for most of the season, or as the main DH. So I don't see them bringing him up. I could see if there was an opportunity for a DH in there, if Stanton were going to play the field, or if Stanton were injured. But with Andujar in there really isn't much need for him. We don't need him in the outfield. We have plenty of good outfield gloves. Like I said, there's at least 5 ahead of him: Stanton, Hicks, Judge, Gardner, and Tauchman.
That's the best thing about Hicks. He's the first player to get Tommy John surgery, not have to miss an entire season due to an injury.
Who would have guessed? That's going to be a trivia question one day. All right, let's get on to another one. Speaking of Miguel Andujar will be traded before the deadline. What do you think about that?
I'm going to pass this one.
Really?
Because I don't want to say smash and I don't want to say trash. I honestly want to pass up on this because I don't know if he brings any value, but if the Yankees were to trade Andujar right now, it would either be for a shortstop or a starting pitcher. So you don't know if they might package him with it, Garcia for Lindor, either during the season or after. But this season, I'm just gonna pass it because I don't know what's going on. Because you only have a 1 month into the season of a trade deadline, and I don't know which team's plans are. So I'm gonna pass this one.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna trash this one. I think he'll be a Yankee for the full year at least. I think if there were any chance of him being traded, it would be because he just comes up and rakes. But if that's the case, I don't see the Yankees getting rid of him. I think that the Yankees are still high on him. He's very young. What is he, 25 maybe?
Yeah. So I'll get you the definite age right now.
But either way, he's very young. And so I don't see them giving up that kind of asset, especially if they don't think that he's valued as high as he could be.
He just turned 25 this year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I could see him being a really major contributor this year. So I think he'll be with us for the whole year.
Honestly, if they do trade him, I could see him having an Alfonso Soriano type career. It's just the bats they had early on, especially with Andujar. He had that monster year back in 2018. He came up and
but Andujar's only really been here a year. He was really only played for the Yankees in 2018, and
2019 he went to go
for a while before they traded him. But I see what you mean. I could definitely see something like that coming back to finish out his career.
And just going to tear 12 home runs in last.
Okay. All right. I got one last one. And this is a doozy. Gary Sanchez will win MVP.
Smash it.
Really?
Yeah. Why not? Gary Sanchez is going to come back with a vengeance. He's hungry. He's been battling a groin injury the last couple of years, and I could see him having more than 15 home runs in this 60-game span. He's just going to be
50.
raking in
50 home runs, you said?
15, more than 15.
Okay.
Not 50.
That's more
That's
reasonable.
not. I'm not getting too carried away, Brian.
Okay.
But
all right.
I'm optimistic about
respect it.
Sanchez.
I'm gonna trash this one.
It's all right, man.
I love Gary. He's really streaky, and I think that's a plus in this situation because if he does go on a tear, the season will be over before he gets a chance to cool down. So, I mean, that's a cool idea. The fact because we've seen what he can do in short periods of time. So if he can go on a tear and just like have like a month or two where he just rakes, I could see it happening. But it's hard for me to say that anyone's going to beat Mike Trout at any point. And if Judge is healthy, I think he's got a better chance than Sanchez.
Yeah.
So I'll trash this one.
It's all right, man. We both have our different opinions on things, so that's the best thing about this game.
Right.
No matter the subject, you're gonna get a different opinion. You might get the same one, different one, but it's better to have different ones with this situation.
It's a great game. It's a really great game.
I'm really proud of you, actually, Brian. You actually came up with this game.
Thank you.
So you handled yourself well, and you always have.
All right. That does it for this episode of Chicken Bucket Boys. We're powered by PTX Media and Unhinged Media. So thanks for joining us this week, and we'll see you again next week.
Yeah.
Take care.
Maybe we'll have some news with the upcoming baseball season. So
Fingers crossed.
have a good night, everybody.